and you might see a bit of a battle for like 3rd or 4th for some seeding into playoffs and maybe a relegation battle. But this has kind of got everything. So the door's wide open. We'll see how both Mindfreak and Athletico play around that.
Certainly is, and the compositions coming out. We're looking at some interesting ones for the boys. They got Aki on the Moira and Swilko on the Lucio. This isn't something you usually see. Usually you'd see a Mercy to accompany the Orisa compositions, but they've decided to go with the Moira. Soldier as well for Addy instead of the Widowmaker. He's managed to rocket jump onto the high ground, but he chooses to fall back off. Athletico, they're going for the Pharaoh Widow. They've shown this a few weeks in a row, but now they've got an ace up their sleeve. Young Merit on the Ana.
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting composition for Mindfreak, isn't it? Not something that we've seen at all so far this season, and they're going to try and make it work, but are you going to really struggle to deal with D-Field, I feel, and then he's also got the presence that Wubo's going to be able to bring.
Barrage up.
I mean, exactly, that's what I'm talking about. D-Field gets Addy, Wubo with the barrage already, there's just not enough pressure, and Bus goes flying off the map as well. The Fortify doesn't come up in time. This is looking like an absolute demolition. Mindfreak, I think they're going to have to go back to the drawing board here and figure out some kind of a different strategy, a different composition. Wuvo may be overextending just a little bit there, but doesn't quite get punished for it, and now gets the rocket barrage down. Will be finished off by August with a headshot, but it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Athletico really putting the damage into Mindfreak at this point, though. The benefit, at least, is that Addy can get back quite quickly because he is on Soldier, so he's been able to cause a bit of damage. Still, the fight has inevitably swung the way of Athletico.
Certainly has. We see Bus swapping over to that Wrecking Ball to disrupt D-Field's Widow. That's going to be a key pick there. I mean, we didn't really have an answer to the Wuvo Pharaoh there at all, and it looks like Mindfreak are actually going to go swap to that Goat. So they're early composition switches that they might have had a strategy going into this, a plan, you know, we can match them bunker versus bunker or something, but they didn't have any plan for Wuvo, and he built one of the fastest barrages I've seen on this map. And that to go with D-Field being unanswered, they just had nothing to shut down the DPS players from Athletico, and if you give people an inch, they'll take a mile. Especially these experienced DPS players in Wuvo and D-Field. Probably two of the more experienced players in Contenders Australia. They've been playing the game since release, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, they were there in Season 1 as well, which pretty much you look at the rest of the competition, I suppose maybe outside of Swilko,
yep,
I want to say. I don't think any of them, Kiki would have been playing in Season 1 of AU Contenders. But the majority of the players actually even in this game, and you look at a team like Mindfreak and you say, oh, you know, I feel like they're relatively experienced in AU Contenders. Yeah. And yet, yeah, it's definitely been a long run for the other guys. So there is something interesting going on for Mindfreak. I mean, I don't know what the thought process necessarily was behind that initial setup. I mean, I guess you've got the Soldier there to try and deal with the Pharah, but as soon as you see the Widow, you're like, oh, okay, we're in trouble now. So we've essentially wasted a fight for Mindfreak. But they swap back onto Goats, the Winston Goats more so than anything else, and that should enable them a little bit more flexibility here.
They're going to be struggling for damage. Addy has no rocket charge here, charge on his Zarya, so it's going to be hard for them to take out Wuvo and prevent him from doing anything here.
Wuvo's going to just continue to put the rocket damage in, and I suppose Wuvo is not really the focus of fire here for Mindfreak. They want to dive on that back line of Athletico, the likes of Merit, the likes of D-Field, the two snipers, and maybe if they can get on top of Design as well, somehow, that would be ideal. Let Wuvo do his thing, but they need to focus on the rest of players on that Athletico roster. Boost out onto Wuvo, as you mentioned. No rocket barrage available, but this is just going to give him a bit of extra damage. August is under quite a significant amount of pressure, does drop the shield just as Wuvo sneaks a rocket in. Once again, Athletico are finding the advantages in this fight. We're going to see a sound barrier down from Mindfreak. It's Swilko. He's going to try and save his teammates, and it seems to be going a little bit further the back way of Mindfreak, and now self-destruct down as well, right on top of the Bongo. He's going to get rid of that. Kiki, in the meanwhile, is doing a pretty decent amount of damage. And finally, Mindfreak started to draw ahead in a battle. It's a prolonged one. To be fair, Athletico didn't really use too much in that fight, I don't think. But I mean, like, you look at Rocket Barrage, it's still available. No, I suppose they use Bongos and Nano, but still.
That was a cleanish fight for Athletico, though. They got out their ults, they managed to stall the point to 88%. But that's surprising that this is Mindfreak's probably most comfortable composition. They like playing Bus on the Winston, they like playing Addy on the Zarya, they like having these tanks, these mobile tanks to deal with the enemy threat of the DPS, and that really allows Addy to shine. But now Athletico have swapped over to the Sombra. The barrage comes out from Wuvo, but it looks like to be eaten all up, and now he's gone down.
Yeah, that's a bit of an over-eager rocket barrage from Wuvo. Didn't seem to have any backup at all. I mean, there's no nano boost, that's for sure.
No, he'll be looking to swap here for sure. He goes over to the Zarya himself. I expect Paso to be swapping over and the supports to be going as well. But it's a rough start. They've given up 40% now for free, essentially, Athletico. They didn't have to use any ults there except for the Bustle Primal Rage. And now they're waiting in the wings, waiting to pounce on someone.
better looking situation for Mindfreak now that they have the economy advantage as well. Still a bit of work to be done, but 30% is going to tick by quite quickly. That's going to go in this fight. So Athletico only really have 2 left to play with. It's the Coalescence to start things off, and then the Graviton Surge down as the defense matrix fades, and that is such a good combo for Mindfreak. Really nothing that Athletico can do against that. However, the important factor is now the EMP has arrived for D-Field, 97%.
Yeah, to borrow a phrase from a friend, Aki was hosing them all down there in that room, but there was a lot of ults expended from Mindfreak. They expended the Rally, the Coalescence, and the Graviton Surge. Swilko hasn't been building his beat incredibly fast, not setting any records, so they're going to have to deal with this EMP somehow. They don't have the Rally, though.
I mean, what do they really have? There's Primal Rage maybe coming up, but that's
a big one.
6-man EMP. God, that is great from D-Field, and this should surely win the fight for Athletico. Well, they're fighting a couple of picks. The Mac goes down, and then so too does Kiki. Swilko dancing around on the walls isn't really going to be able to be too much of a threat for Athletico. Important here that Mindfreak get a proper reset so that they can actually retouch the point.
Boss will have the Primal Rage, so he'll be able to touch no matter what, but he's going to be going straight into this hacking Sombra, and if he gets hacked, he could end up falling very quickly. He goes in now. Will he be able to get the Primal off? He does.
Yeah, has to use it early though, which is less than ideal, but at least he's going to be able to secure the overtime. Now what can the rest of Mindfreak do? Aki's not going to be a factor in the rest of this fight. Now self-destruct flies on in from Kiki, which won't really have much of an impact at all. August is doing some work. If he can pick Wubo here, they might be able to turn the fight around. Sound Barrier will be dropped by Mindfreak, but again, it's just not the damage that Mindfreak needs. They're not being able to get the kills, and as a result, Athletico have the numbers on the point.
Wubo's closing in on this grab, but the grab comes out from Mindfreak first, but Addy goes down while he's shooting into it. Merit with the nano boost. Is he going to be able to get this off onto Wubo in time? He does. The Graviton comes out now. No, he didn't get booped into the hole, and this is going to be the cleanup for Athletico.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's really not much to write home about for Mindfreak now. Overtime will tick away very quickly, and the first round does go to Athletico, which I suppose is a little surprising, right? We would have maybe expected Mindfreak should start off on the right foot, but I kind of feel like Mindfreak got themselves into a pretty big hole with that initial setup.
Yeah, they totally misread the situation there on the rollout. They expected a composition coming out from Athletico. Maybe they heard some whispers somewhere, but it just didn't come out, and that really put them on the back foot. And the fight took so long that Athletico were able to build up that second round of ultimates and really lock them out. It was something like 88% before Mindfreak capped, but here we go on to Lighthouse, and we see Addy's Widowmaker come out. This has been an absolute pest to deal with so far. His positioning and his rotations have been exceptional. No one's been able to shut him down. How will Athletico deal with him? Tasso's going to have to be on the money here as we see Kiki swap over to the Pharah. So this is the 3 DPS composition, something we won't be able to see for playoffs.
It's kind of crazy, right? It's a total departure from what we saw there on Well. Like, this was what Athletico was running. Yep. And now Mindfreak is doing it. And Athletico have countered it, or attempted to counter it, with Winston Coates.
They've certainly switched up. Now Athletico are going to try and pull it up. Bustle can get a boop here, and the Lucio goes off, but Merit falls as quickly.
Yeah, Buster's, not having too much of an impact on this fight. Eventually does roll through D-Field. Again, that's one of the fights that sort of looks like it's over before it begins. You know, when you lose a player that early on in the piece as Athletico, you don't really have any options but to back off and reset, unless you find an immediate trade frag.
No, it's a very difficult way to path to, unless you get like your Winston bubble to block something, or you get that defense matrix from D.Va to block the conk blast from Pharah, or the nade. There's so many things you have to stop. So interesting rotation there from Athletico. I think they need to open the sightlines a bit more, give themselves a chance to flush this Pharah up before the fight starts, and that's what they're doing now.
Trying to do right now.
Sparaj is coming online very quickly though. Merit could be in danger here.
Not only Merit, Design could be too. It's Merit that actually does fall. He's not been having a good time at all. Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders, says Kiki. Project will be demeched as well, but the rest of Mindfreak are there to pick up the pieces after Kiki does end up dropping. It's all well and done by Mindfreak. Another good job. They did let Athletico cap the point for a second there, so that's going to cost them, 5-6%, but not the end of the world.
Yeah, and this triple threat from Mindfreak with the 3 DPS heroes has been wonderful so far. They haven't dealt with Kiki, they haven't dealt with Bust disrupting them, and Addy hasn't even been needed yet. Sure, he got the infra side up on that fight, but he hasn't been needed because Athletico haven't walked into his sightlines yet. Wuvo on the Tracer is an interesting decision. He can't really contest Addy on the high ground, and he's very liable to get one-shot by a Swilko boosted Kiki rocket. So I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to get done on this Tracer. He really needs to find Aki and isolate him.
Yeah, not to mention if he gets hacked as well, that's going to pretty much be the end of him. To be really careful with his positioning. Well, speaking of hacks, it's going to be onto Buzz. The EMP goes down from August, who then subsequently gets hit by a Bionade. But Bus is in the middle of all of those hacked up players doing tons of damage. And there's really nothing to, again, write home about here for Athletico. They just have to reset. You walk onto the point, you get EMP'd, you're like, well, guess I just lose. 76%.
Yeah, they're really struggling here to find a way in. Merritt's dropping very low. I hope he doesn't get staggered out. He doesn't. He manages to hide in the bush for a little bit. Can't see him there. But now T-Field's EMP is the key ultimate. If he can get Bus or he can get two targets, maybe even August on the Sombra, then that's the only way I can see them winning a fight. Kiki's actually been slept by Merritt. He's landed on the high ground though, so it's going to be difficult to take him down.
Oh, Rubo's up there. He's got the pulse bomb right on top of him. Everything was thrown in there. Even the EMP from D-Field, which connects onto Bus and Swilko, but that might not still be enough to win the fight here for Athletico because Mindfreak are still getting some work done. Bus the first onto design. Wubo's trying to do his best to deal with what's going on here. Jumps off the edge, recalls back to the point, and finally we see Athletico start to knock over those bowling pins. Paso being the bowling ball, the metaphorical bowling ball in this situation with the nano boost on him, and they do cap the point out. Took a damn long time though.
Yeah, Paso the Wonder Child coming up clutch there, but they did really overinvest onto Kiki's Farah. I was very, very hesitant to call that fight one because I thought they were going to be able to come back into it pretty quickly, Mindfreak. But now they've swapped over to a composition they're very comfortable with, the Winston Ghosts. They are using Kiki's Brig and August on Sombra instead of the usual Diva. That won't come into a break. Oh, they've got a nice little flank here from Quad J, but he's not going to be able to find anything. Design gets the first kill of the fight.
That's not too fun for Quad J. Has to boost away from Desire. Already the initial pick did go the way of Athletico, and a good Bionade through onto Bus and Swilko is going to force Mindfreak away.
Wubo's in a really tricky position now where he's playing Tracer into this Brigitte, this August Sombra, and this is really difficult to get any value from. He's got to find and isolate Aki somewhere later on in the fight. He has to be very, very patient here. Quad J's throwing a bomb in. Is it going to be able to get anything?
It doesn't look like it should at this point. He'll get the remake back across, so there's no real harm done there for Athletico, but the bomb could have been useful later on in the piece. So too could have that pulse bomb, but not going to connect onto anything.
They're going to win the fight here. It's going to be off the back of D-Field's EMP.
Is he going to get it up in time? August gets his out first, that's for sure. Paso not going to be able to Primal Rage here. Quad J, useless Diva at this point with the...
Did he get hacked out of it? No, he didn't.
I don't know, but no, looks like Mindfreak, 3 players getting hacked on up there, but it's just too late in the fight, Smash. It doesn't really matter whether or not the hack came out.
It's all over but they're crying now. Paso will try and touch the point, contest it, but this round has looked all Mindfreak from start to finish.
I don't even think he's getting there. Oh, just.
He just gets there, but he won't be there for much longer.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. Well, Design's going to trickle in as well. And maybe even the Sombra gets there too. D-Field's on the point. This has got to be a bit frustrating for Mindfreak. They know that they've won the round.
Yeah, I mean, it is just taking out the staggers, and usually at this time you're getting a bit hyped and you're calling the targets over and over again, but that round, the ultimate effectiveness was the real difference there. We saw the first EMP from D-Field come out on the sleeping Farah. Yeah, it killed him, but they also committed 2 or 3 ults there to kill him. So they overcommit there, and then the second EMP from D-Field, it was a bit late. They didn't really get in the position to take advantage of it. Paso had already gone down. Yeah, I just didn't feel the ultimate effectiveness coming out from Athletico. The sound barrier from Design was at a point where they were already 1 up in the fight, so they really need to think about their over-ulting and their ultimate usage. Hope they're not getting too carried away now they've taken 1 of the rounds off them. Mindfreak rolling out on the Moira again. Maybe they're expecting a Farah here or something, because that's
a Widow,
usually
perhaps?
the pick. Yeah, I don't know if they've read the situation correctly at all with Addy coming out in the Tracer. I think this will be a quick back to spawn boys moment for Mindfreak.
Can't really blame them though. If I was going up against Athletico, I'd probably be expecting D-Field on the Widow here.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point. You are versing the underdog and you're expecting him to pull something out, and Wuvo has shown to like playing Farah, D-Field like playing Widow, so it's not a bad call. But this should mean that Athletico should get first cap and good positioning. They've definitely got the good positioning here. Merritt can get a nice Bionade.
Oh, he can indeed. 3 players connected with that one. And Mindfreak were trying to contest the point. That's why they're going so quickly, so aggressively. But in the end, well, they did contest the point. I'll give them that. But they've also fed a lot of ult charge over to Mindfreak here to Athletico, sorry, for no real benefit on the side of Mindfreak, it feels like. Swilko's done a good job at least of getting Quad J off the edge, so that helps. But when all said and done, I mean, Athletico are pretty happy with that.
Oh, they'll be certainly happy with that. They managed to get the rollout comp perfect. They managed to get onto the high ground, the positioning. I reckon Merritt, he's 6'5", he could box jump onto that high ground. He's a bloody big bloke. And that really set Merit up to get that anti-nade right into the back of that Ryan shield. Kiki had no idea where it was coming from, and that set the fight up for Athletico to take it. And another big bio-nade. Aki's in trouble.
A nano boost built up by Merit so quickly. The
He
sleep
puts August
does.
to sleep
I don't know
too.
if that connects. It does, apparently. And Merit wants this kill. He's going to get it. No, he's not. Design steals it. But all's well and done from Athletico. And Mindfreak, I mean, they really need to figure out what on earth is going on here. Like, you can't run into 2 bio-nades like that in a row and not start to play around it. So hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Oh, Passo's missed the jump. We'll try to have another go, son. But yeah, this positioning is something that you need to be wary of. You can't really rotate through the left side there because you open yourself up to be so vulnerable. You need to contest this high ground, and D-Field might just pop the rally and jump into it.
Oh, no need to just yet. Mindfreak are going to try and wait it out, but these are painful seconds as they see that percentage starting to tick above 50%.
Aki has 50% on his ult, and Wuvo's going to have a nice Graviton Searcher and every angle he could ever want to drop it on.
Yeah, it's not fun at all for Mindfreak. They seem to have backed themselves into a corner once again, like what we saw on Well. They're just not being able to claw their way out of it at all.
Kiki's going to have to come up clutch here. And he doesn't get the eat. This means Addy's isolated and pinned into his team.
Yeah, there's a shatter as well for Passo if need be, but it doesn't look like he's going to need it. Mindfreak will give it up, but that's just a massive benefit for Athletico. Like, we actually haven't seen a single fight yet. Really, that's what it's been. It's been Athletico picking Mindfreak off before they even get into a position to start a fight. Might be able to do it again if Pasto gets a good shatter. Like, I know Mindfreak have got 5 ults here, but all it takes is one good one from Athletico. Good shatter down, maybe, and then a nano boost from Merit, and that's fight over.
Certainly could be, and we see the fight working out now. The Brig rally comes out from August. He's going to have to mark Passo very well. The bomb from Kiki isn't going to be able to catch anything.
It does actually catch Wubo. The shatter is decent, though, from Passo. Can they turn things around here off the back of it? It doesn't seem like that'll be possible. With Zwolko's sound barrier going down, now a Graviton surge onto the point, and there's so many Athletico players locked up in that one that finally Athletico do end up getting dropped.
It was very expensive, though. Aki manages to save his ultimate. He actually went down before he could press it, so he's managed to save it. But Athletico, now they have time to reassess. Okay, what ultimates did they use? This is what they have. And that Transcendence isn't always guaranteed to save your life. Merit has been hitting these big bio-nades, and if he hits one during that Transcendence, it could be all over for Mindfreak on this first map.
D-Field will have a rally shortly as well. Athletico definitely looking decent going into this fight. See what the self-destruct is going to be able to do. Transcendence won't save anyone against that.
If Athletico can build this rally, they can go very aggressive here before Mindfreak has anything to do with it. And Bus has been antied already.
Well, here comes the self-destruct. It's the go signal for Athletico. Mindfreak just backing away for the moment, but D-Field managed to get his counterpart. It's August down. Now no Brigitte on the field for Mindfreak. Transcendence now is thrown in. It doesn't look like there's going to be a boost coming through from Merit as we do finally see that one dropped across. It was a nice shatter from Bus. I will give him credit for that, but nothing really came from it. 5 players on the floor, and still Athletico are more or less alive as Wubo gets his Graviton Surge down. Passo, Wubo finding some kills. All of a sudden, Mindfreak start to falter, and Athletico gain an advantage. Now, they are putting the hurt onto Mindfreak. Naki, the last alive. I mean, this is map 1 done.
It should be done. Anything can happen, though. Don't write about. Yeah, Addy's coming back on the Doomfist. Bus on the ball. He's been antied straight away, though. His anti's on point from Merit.
What can you do at that point as Bus? Well, Addy at least is able to dive on top of Merit, get a bit of revenge, but the flip has occurred. Athletico now in possession of the point at 99%. Addy going to continue to try and do as much work as he can. Now Swulko looking for boobs, and he could be a hugely impactful player here for Mindfreak with that ultimate coming up. Sound barrier does indeed go down just in time to save the Wrecking Ball, but unfortunately, there's still not the numbers on the point here for Mindfreak, and they're still just playing for time. They're trying to buy time to get those players back, but
they're so desperate, but this is going to be it. Swilko goes down, and that's the end of the round. Athletico with the upset win on the King of the Hill map, something that Mindfreak's been very strong on this season.
Yeah.
This is good signs for Athletico, and Merit, what a round he had at the start of the round. He won like 2 or 3 fights straight away for this side of Athletico. What an inclusion he's been.
You start to feel a little bit worried here if you're Legacy looking at a match like this. This was one where Legacy would have said, hey, you know what? Mindfreak, they're our boys. They're going to clean this one up. 2nd place versus 6th. No worries. It's going to be a 4-0. Make our job easy tomorrow.
And if you're on the side of Order, you're saying, thank you, Merit, because he's helped his old team out very nicely
he's
there.
The sleeper cell, the sleeper
He's the
agent.
sleeper agent. We've sent him in. But it really was a composition read from the side of Athletico. They didn't play anything funky or anything that, you know, would catch you off guard. And Mindfreak have just kind of mind-gamed themselves by swapping into these compositions that set them back on the back foot. And if you are swapping composition early on these King of the Hill rounds, it can be very difficult to get into the round. You're essentially giving up one fight, and when you take the fight without being on the proper composition, you give up ultimate bank too. And that's what we saw in those first and third round there.
Mindfreak are going to have to go back to the drawing board. It's been some interesting starts to the rounds, that's for sure. I mean, that's the problem with Control sometimes, is like if you lose that first fight, or you don't even have the opportunity maybe to challenge that first fight, you give over such an advantage to your opponent that it's really hard to come back in, because there's just not that much time, right? You get maybe 4 fights, and it takes you 2 or 3 fights to build your ultimates up, then you win that 4th one, and then your opponent has like 4 fights.
Almost.
And they build their own ults before you build yours. It's like, okay, well, BL.
Yeah, it really is a bit of BL, isn't it? But I think that Mindfreak they might be nervous, or they might be, over eager to try out things, because at the moment they just need to play their staple game, right? That Winston Goats that they've shown over the whole season to play well. All they need to do is pick that, right? And then if Athletico do come out and choose something a bit funky, you can always just change 1 or 2 heroes in that Winston Goats composition, and it kind of counters everything. I
mean, is it the right play to kind of initially start on the counter pick, or should you go for a bit more of a general composition? Like,
personally, I'm a big fan of going for your basic, your staple composition, and then adapting as the series goes on. That's something the Order have been very good at this season, as well as Warriors. They have their staple composition, where the Sombra Goats for Warriors, or just the regular Goats for Order, and then they'll move their players around according to what's thrown at them.
Well, what you want to do is you start on your default, and then if some sort of curveball gets thrown out, that's where the default then adapts to the situation. But we are going to move on to Paris. So all thoughts of Ilios in the back of our minds, certainly in the back of the minds of Mindfreak, and particularly given that they haven't actually won a map of Paris so far this season. That said, neither has Athletico, so let's not get too overly excited. But yeah, not the way that Mindfreak would have envisioned starting this series. And you got to remember, like, if Mindfreak end up losing this, I mean, they drop out a second, probably.
Yeah, they could drop out a second, and I mean, if Ground Zero come through 4-0 and Mindfreak lose this 4-0, and then all of a sudden things can go pretty wrong for Mindfreak pretty quickly after having such a great season too. But Athletico have shown to upset teams at times, and maybe they're proving it to us. It was no fluke versus Order in week 2 or 3 or whatever it was.
It was week 2, I think, when they faced Order. Their only other win coming in week 1, which was against Mavericks. So that's kind of why we're saying, look, the expectation isn't really there for Athletico to win this series. I mean, outside the one against Order, they actually haven't had a really solid result so far this season. They lost last week to Legacy, they lost to Sydney Drop Bears, and pretty handily to Ground Zero and Warriors as well. So all those teams that are kind of on the same par kind of area as Athletico, the matches have been pretty one-sided. Getting a win over Order was great, sure, but it's sort of like a one-hit wonder in a way. And Mavericks, like, okay, everyone's beaten Mavericks, so let's not even take that into context, right? But a win against Mindfreak this week.
It would go a long way. And it would go a long way for the confidence too. If they get into playoffs after a win versus Mindfreak, then they'll be very confident in going forward, and they could even upset other teams going in. They're not to be underestimated. They have a lot of individual talent on this Athletico roster. Wuvo has been a projectile DPS player for a very long time, very consistent. D-Field, again, very consistent, very young. But Passo has been a little superstar this season so far. I think he's someone that everyone didn't really know a whole lot about going into the season, but he certainly created waves early on, and his Winston's proved to be pretty good, actually. I was hesitant. I thought he was a Ryan 1 trick, but his Winston's been very good.
Yeah, I won't disagree with you that I think his Ryan has been the standout hero for him. But we'll see what he can do here on Winston. Paris, Bus also mirroring that, diving right on top of Athletico. There was a Bionade going through right onto Merit and Design.
Bus going
is
very
so low, but he's totally played them. He's totally played them. They've overcommitted now on the Bus, and look at that, straight off the maps. We'll go get to Design. There was another player that almost went off as well. But this is much more like it for Mindfreak there. Back to it. Looking for that 3-1.
Well, this is what we wanted to see from them. Rolling out in this default composition, and if something happens, they throw a curveball at you, Athletico, then you can adapt to it. And this is their comfort picks. Aki can wait and hold that nade for so long now on this long rotation that Athletico have to do to get to point, and he can choose the perfect time when the cooldowns aren't available to throw that nade in. Bus already closing in on a Primal Rage. Swilko, he's playing in this cheeky position. If Athletico rotate through the right, he can knock supports in front and right into a Bionade.
How about if they rotate through the left? He's going to look to do the same. Does connect onto Wuvo. That's a nice sleep dart straight on top of the Primal Raging Winston, but gets woken up, and Bus is going to be able to continue his work, trying to save his team. Good peel in the end from Bust, and so far Mindfreak have not lost a player. It's a trade and it's an exchange of Primal Rages, but now down comes the Graviton Surge and the rest of everything thrown in from Athletico. Again, a great anti coming through from Aki as he puts the Nano Boost on as well. Wubo will be the first to drop. That was off the back of the anti-nade. Addy's turn now with the Graviton Surge, and it seems as though Athletico can't really find their feet here on Paris.
It's a difficult point to attack, and if you get caught in rotation like they have been by these Biotic Grenades from Aki, then it's very easy for your supports to go down. But Athletico now have a chance to answer. They have the Brom, they have the D-Field Rally. The D-Field Rally is a key here because he can really start the fight off very aggressively and force maybe the sound barrier out of Suoko. Barrett has that Nano Boost, but who's he going to put it on? Passo's getting close to ult, but they'd want to get Wuvo energized and then put it on him, just to build his ult up for the second push. Another big Bio Nade!
Wow, just onto D-Field, but it will force the sound barrier down pretty early from Athletico. In the end, Mindfreak are just going to back away. They retreat, they let the sound barrier fade away, and now it's their turn to recontest. See what Suoko is going to do. Yes, it is going to be the sound barrier invested in from Mindfreak, but where is the return? Do they find any picks onto Athletico? Not seeing any of those players go particularly low. Now finally Quad J starts to tick away and he eventually will be de-mech'd. Pasto trying to cause a bit of havoc for Athletico, but again, it's just not quite going to be out enough. And Mindfreak, again and again and again, they're finding really solid teamfight wins here. Only a minute on the clock now. And Athletico are going to start quaking in their boots.
It's danger signs. Athletico, they looked like they panicked there. Design popped the sound barrier when there was nothing to pop for. He might have been scared of this anti-nade coming from Aki, but D-Field had the rally running. Merit used the Nano Boost. Design uses the sound barrier. They stack all three on top of each other, and that means there's no defensives. Mindfreak do a really good job of kiting back and resetting the fight, essentially. This grab's going to be huge!
Yeah, that's a bit of a how you going for Athletico.
Check your corners, Jordan. If you're playing an FPS game, always check your corners. There could be a cheeky Zarya.
But even if you check your corner there, like, what are you going to do? Quad J's been staggered as well.
Well, you tell Quad J to eat it, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to eat anything at the moment, as Kiki's doing a good job body blocking him. But he didn't use the boosters to knock him off, so that's a A- for Kiki.
I'd like to have seen him get the kill, hey?
Yeah, he's wasted an opportunity there to pad his stats.
Either way, 15 seconds, Athletico really going to be scrambling to get onto this point. And what do they have to work with? Graviton Surge, maybe, but it might come down too late in this fight if they can't get it rolling early on in the piece. Well, Wubu now has it available. Does the first pick come out here for Mindfreak? We're going to see the Nano Boost through. No one got to the point! Yeah. Are you kidding me?
A failure of communication as Paso didn't quite get to the point fast enough, and they didn't track the seconds down. That Graviton Surge on the pole from Wubo, he saw that he did it twice or three times, but he never really got the right cutoff. Yeah. The idea is you grab them on the pillar, so the line of sights are now cut off, so the beat drop might get blocked, or maybe the Ana Hill sight line gets blocked, but unfortunately, Aki was on that left-hand side in position every time to support whoever got grabbed there, and they didn't even need the sound barrier at the end of the day. That Nano Boost prevents a lot of damage, especially if you're the only man in that Graviton Surge.
Well, I have to say that looks like it should be a win for Mindfreak.
Certainly.
Did he get booped off, I wonder? You can see the Brigitte design got booped off. It was design that got booped off.
It was design that got booped off. Paso also went for a swing or two onto Addy in that Graviton Surge, which meaning he didn't have the time to get there. So unfortunately, Athletico just failing to get back onto the point, but they did give themselves a winnable situation where they have 39% of that capture point, and okay.
I don't know if that's a winnable situation. I mean, technically, yes. Mathematically, yes.
I've seen some things, alright? And this is winnable. In my ranked matchmaking games, I'm telling my team, this is winnable. And they've got the Bass, they've got the Tourbillon. They can do anything. And Merit, when this Baptiste hero came into competitive, he griefed everybody's game playing this hero for so long, everyone would beg him off to swap it. He actually got the 4.2k around there just playing this hero, so it's potential.
I love the, as soon as we swap to that shot, she just gets punched in the face by someone.
Yeah, look, it's probably not the best way, but robots have feelings too, alright, Jordan, so be nice, alright?
It's alright. We all know you're a bot, Smash, and you want people to be nice to you, but wishful thinking, mate. Wishful thinking. Well, look at this setup.
Yeah, Mindfreak have
gone for days.
So they're going to swap onto their own side of Bunker Buster, as it will. Addy going over to the Bastion, and it's going to be a battle of the bunkers, as Wuvo and Addy are going to shoot at each other for like 6 seconds and then run away. One of them will run away.
Is it a Bunker Buster or is it just Bunker? Really, because it feels like it's just Bunker. See if Aki can get any hooks here as well. That's one little difference for Mindfreak. Get the Halt out. Hook doesn't seem to have connected this time. Addy's looking for a bit of damage, but does just change up his position, which is going to give Wuvo a bit more shooting time. And now this is the very dangerous dance that Bastions do like to play.
Zorko already has the amplification matrix up now, but a big bio nade has come through, and that will stop things for a little bit. So we see both teams just kind of poking each other. It's a Mexican standoff, but D-Field answers first, and this looks like a good fight for Athletico to be winning.
Yeah, Zorko just can't get those right clicks down quickly enough. Even with the amplification matrix invested by Mindfreak, Athletico are the ones doing more damage. Merit still has his.
This is a dangerous situation for Mindfreak. They haven't really set themselves up with a combo of ults that can bust this easily. They don't have the EMP Nanoblade, they don't have the Graviton Surge, they don't have those big team wipe ultimates. And the Athletico, they don't have any defensive ults. So Mindfreak are going to have to try and outposition them, maybe get a suck hook combo off that works, but Athletico, they have a good chance of holding this if they can rotate their ults well. If D-Field can get value out of his Molten Core, then I'd back him.
Just have to wait and see if there's going to be a hook out here from Aki. That could be the battering ram, really, that Mindfreak needs to knock down this door. The other factor would be the self-destruct from Kiki when that's built up. I mean, you talk about big teamfight ultimates, that's probably the only one that they really have to force Athletico out of position. Maybe Dragon Strike as well, but I feel to a lesser extent.
I think the more ground that Athletico give up here, the worse things are. They start getting into positions where they can't, and see Addy just takes him out straight away. This is what I mean. Giving up position on this comp is awful.
Well, Molten Core is going to get thrown in from Athletico. Paso and Merit have traded back, but the Bastion still persists here for Mindfreak, and that is a little scary if you're on the defensive side. But enough kills have come across that Mindfreak have to back off. Now, can Mindfreak rally quickly enough to take back this position? It looks like it, because Athletico aren't. Well, they are moving.
Wuvo's panicked a little bit and swapped to the Genji. This isn't something you want to see with this composition. He has nothing to follow up any sort of dives. He's got to play very patiently here. If he overcommits, he could be greeted with a hook in the face and get taken down very quickly. He did go down in that previous fight, so that means that he wasn't confident running back from spawn all the way on that Bastion, who isn't very quick.
Minor victories for Mindfreak, starting to pound upon themselves. A whole hog available for Aki, and there's another pick. So this should be the go signal for Mindfreak. A nice shatter down from Quad J, and he almost gets punished for it, but now actually the fight starts to turn around. Aki trying to get some work done with the whole hog, doesn't manage to push anyone off, but does kill D-Field with the damage. Player advantage right now for Mindfreak, and a respawn advantage for them as well. Wuvo, though, very nearly has got himself this Dragon Blade. He's going to have to do something special with it to save his team, and in fact won't be able to get it up in time. The dash through didn't give him enough ultimate charge, and sooner or later Mindfreak are going to overwhelm Athletico with sheer power of numbers. That is just about to happen. One apiece now as Mindfreak find a dominant victory on Paris.
It was an anticlimactic closeout to that map. Mindfreak probably sweating a little bit as they came into that last fight. Didn't seem like they had everything under control, but eventually they managed to get Athletico to pull back off that high ground, the first high ground, and that means that August can start opening angles on his Hanzo. It means that people can start rotating around, they can look for angles for these suck hooks, and there's just too much to watch out for if you're on the side of Athletico to defend from.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a better response from Mindfreak. A bit more what we expected out of this series, to be honest, and I suppose that flips the series really back on its head. You know, we went into map 2 saying, hey, look, Athletico, they're looking good, maybe they can find a win here, maybe they can cause an upset, but straight away I feel like that storyline has just been ripped to pieces, and it's back to the whole, okay, Mindfreak's looking for a 3-1 now.
Yeah, I think they'll have to be happy with the 3-1, but I think that Athletico still have a chance in this series. Mindfreak haven't looked dominant at all. They're taking it down to the wire on this map after full holding them essentially is nervous signs for Mindfreak. They need to settle a bit down and realize that they are probably the better team on paper and they could start playing like it. Athletico have been overperforming a little bit.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're probably the better team on paper. They definitely are the better team on paper. What they probably are is the better team in the server right now, right? You don't know for sure. Any given day it could be different. Yep. But so far, it's okay for Mindfreak. Thing is, like, they have such a map advantage, right? They're at 10 maps differential, plus 10, versus the next closest is Order with plus 4. I mean, outside of the other teams that are sort of not really close to them at all. Warriors is in plus 8. Like, so even Mindfreak in second place have actually got the best map differential. So it's not so much the maps right now that are an issue for Mindfreak. It's actually the win itself. Even if they win 3-2, they go up, they're still plus 10. No one can actually catch them at plus 10.
Yeah, they need to lose the series essentially to move anywhere in the standings, and well, anywhere down in the standings. Right. But, so this is a good start. I think They just need to back themselves. Numbani is a good map for them for their compositions. They can play that Winston goes pretty much the whole way through if they want to. That first point defense is going to be key. If they can hold on first point with that composition that they're very strong with, then Athletico haven't got a chance in hell of taking this series.
Well, shortly going to be time to find out. For now, we're going to head to a break. Don't go anywhere, though. Series continues after this.